Am I recording? Yes, I am. Hello, and welcome back to update 2. It's been a month, and for those of you who forgot, my name is Robin. I go by Unreal Robin on YouTube and in Discord, so reach out if you want. But I'm holding the mic to my mouth this time because I realized that I was too quiet in the last video. It's kind of sleepy. But anyways, today I wanted to do an update with you on everything that I worked on the last month, which is a lot of stuff. But mainly I wanted to show you guys the update to the UI of the game, because the two other systems that I made are kind of back-end systems that there's no real visual representation to it. So I pretty much built the UI from scratch. I built the whole thing. I'm really excited to show it to you. And then the other two things that I did was I built an ability system for the weapons. So now weapons have a primary and a secondary ability, and the abilities are really easy to kind of plug and play. I can make a new ability for the ranged weapon and just put it on the weapon, and it kind of works all in itself, but that's all on like the code end. And so it's really hard to kind of show that to you. But if you're interested in that, let me know and I will make a kind of like a code review video of how I built that system. And then the second system that I built was for the traps. And now this system is going to be core to the gameplay. This system is really interesting. I call it like the rock, paper, scissors philosophy. It's where, like, let's say I have a trap and it's like a frost trap, and then the frost trap like applies like a slow to an enemy. You might have like another trap placed right after that, just down the path. So the enemy hits the frost trap, he gets slowed, and then he moves on and he hits, let's just say, like a fire trap. He hits the fire trap has an effect called, I don't know, burn. And that's actually what it's called, but the effect is called burn. And then it kind of like negates the slow, right? So when you're actually playing the game and you're looking at the details for each trap, it'll say like, hey, frost trap leaves frozen, which slows the enemy. And then when you look at the fire trap, it'll say fire trap leaves burn, negates frozen, right? And so it'll be a lot of strategy on where you place your traps in order to get kind of the most value for each trap along your maze. But again, like I said, it's like a heavy code thing, which I love and I find interesting, but it's a little bit harder to show. And so today I want to show you the UI. I'm really hoping that you guys like it. I'm gonna show some before and afters so you can see kind of where it was if you didn't catch the first video, or if you did, you kind of saw the old UI from the gameplay, and then now you'll see the new UI. I hope you like it, and if you do, let me know in the comments. Thanks. So here you can see this is like the old UI. There's the build menu. We have the two health bars here on the side, and the inventory is up top. And this is the new UI. Alright, not so bad, huh? Weapon power, that's the build menu, inventories by the weapons, and the health bars are now kind of stacked on each other. And then this is the old death screen. That death screen is now dead, so I can't wait to show you this next one. So basically, all of the widgets went through a pretty big update. I'm assuming I already showed you some before and afters because I'm filming this before I show you the before and afters. But this here is going to be like the basic UI screen that you will see most of the time. You have like the data seed's health, you have the player's health, and then you have your inventory, and then all the data about your weapons. Now, some of this stuff is going to change. These are just some newer placeholder images. And then these are some weapons that I found online. And these are just some weapons that I found online. You can guess where I got these weapons, put it in the comments and let me know. So this was pretty simple. It did take a little bit of work because what you see here is just all the widgets completed. But each one of these little pieces is kind of, its own widget that took some configuring, and I learned a lot kind of redoing this whole UI. But this is the base panel. It's still pretty simple. I got rid of a lot of the information that was up top here. I mean, I had health bars going vertical, health bars going horizontal. It just wasn't clean. And this one is now way better. Second one that was a huge difference was the death UI. The original death UI was also kind of just like a placeholder. This is much closer to how it'll look in game. A lot of this stuff is still static, but you can see here that I put this kind of moving material in the back, which is kind of like one of those old TV screens. Making this material was a pain. I'm terrible with materials. But you know, anyways, I learned a lot and I put it together from scratch, so that felt good. Another thing that's going to be put in here is all of these little things will kind of get typed out. So like as you die, this whole thing won't pop up. Everything will kind of be typed out, giving kind of like some funny or weird, you know, code reason to why you're dead. And then at the bottom, it'll tell you, you know, how many waves have you completed, and then whether you kind of want to quit or you want to start that wave from the beginning or from your last save. That's the death UI. The most impressive thing that I think I made was this building component panel. This is kind of the main panel that you'll interact with. This is where you'll choose the different traps, your different constructs, and all your different structures that you use to actually build your maze. This was intense, right? There's actually like quite a bit of things going on here. There's information between what you're clicking on, what's being showed here in the details panel. And this was really hard, but so much fun. I really enjoyed doing this whole UI rework. Basically though, like the big thing here is what they call the widget switcher, which is this. Now the widget switcher basically just takes some event and then shows some other page, right? So you can think of it like tabs, right? Like just like these tabs here. But even though these look like it's connected, it's not actually connected. Like, you know, this is its own button and this is its own button. And when you fire this button, it fires some event that tells the widget switcher to, hey, go from page 1 to page 2. And then you can see here I have, you know, these are like the different pages. The UI is really fucking small, but you know, anyways, you have the 3 different pages, one page for structures, one page for traps, and then one page for constructs. And so when you click on this button, it fires an event and then the widget switcher switch. So it gives kind of the effect of like tabs, just like, you know, switching between these tabs kind of pops up this new thing. And it looks like it's, you know, it looks kind of like those manila folders where it's connected, but in reality, it's not connected. So that's this. And this whole build menu has been quite the process. I'll tell you kind of how it works is in my content folder, I have a folder that kind of stores data assets for each one of like the different kinds of traps or structures and stuff like this that I have. And I made this because I wanted to be able to, you know, come up with some trap, quickly push it into a data asset with all of its information, and then whatever needs its information can just come here and source it. But that means that I have to tell, you know, Unreal Engine, like, hey, you have to come to this folder and then go through the folder and figure out what to put where. And that kind of happens all in here, right? So before the game is even loading, I tell Unreal from C++, hey, go to this folder, right? That folder I just showed you. Go to this folder and get all the data assets and put them in an array. And I kind of go through the array, and then each data asset says, hey, this is a structure, this is a trap, this is a construct. And so then this kind of goes through and sorts, you know, all the different data assets, kind of function here, takes some data that's retrieved in C++ before the game even loads, and goes through that data and then picks out all the little details. So when you go in game and you open up and you hover over one of the icons, there's like the cost of the icon, what it does, a description. Here, I can even show you just like one. Let's just look at the electro pulse trap. Oh my God, you can't see anything. Anyways, there's a bunch of information here, the name, description, you know, the blueprint, the thumbnail. and the classification. Anyways, that stuff's boring, okay? But just know that it goes in there and then it kind of sorts it into these different wrap boxes. And these wrap boxes are the actual pages down here, you know? Traps, wrap box, traps, wrap box, constructs, wrap box, building components, which are the structures, right? And so it says, hey, when, you know, and that happens when this widget gets populated. And so when the widget pops up, it goes, okay, I have all these ready to go kind of traps and structures and stuff. And it just knows exactly where to put it. And then this details panel here, this just kind of reads from the selected or the hovered item, you know, like the construct or the trap, and it says, hey, this is the cost and this is what it does and this is a big image of it, right? So this was honestly so much fun to do. You know, some things you love to do and other things you don't love to do, but this was a blast, you know. And I'll show you the before now, and this is kind of the new one, right? I can kind of show it to you. I can show it to you in game as well. We're back here. This is in the editor. This is the game. And when you open up your menu, you know, here you have it. And you can see here when I hover on, you know, basic floor, it tells me basic floor component used for building higher levels, cost 2 parts, and then, you know, 0 mechanisms and 0 uniques. And then there'll be an image here kind of showing what the basic floor looks like, or maybe a short GIF about what it does. And then you can see that this button is highlighted blue and underlined. That means that this is the tab that you're on, structures. And then you can go to traps, and the same thing kind of happens here. All right, and he just goes back and forth. And so, and I don't have to, you know, drag some icon and bring it in here. I can make 100 traps and all of this will populate on its own. And then the coolest part about it is that if this overflows, which would take approximately 25 different items, the scroll is really nice on it. And I tested it with like a bunch of different items, and the scroll is really nice. It just scrolls, you know, to the bottom of the list and then scrolls, you know, back up. It's really smooth, really easy, and it's really nice. I'm really excited about that. And the last thing was I can't show it to you. One sec. Here we go. Start again. The last thing here is I kind of added this context menu. I don't love this. I'm going to end up changing some of the details here, but I used to have, when you open the build menu, you had a little buttons down here on the left that said kind of save and load, as I was kind of prototyping the saving and loading system. And I wanted to move it here where it would typically be. And then these settings will kind of go to like audio settings, key mappings, and stuff like that. But you can see here that they share this kind of background border with this, you know, the old TV kind of looking thing. So that is pretty much the updates to the UI. Let me know what you guys think below. Thanks. Well, if you got this far, thank you so much. It's so funny. I'm recording this completely out of order. The first thing I recorded was going over the UI, what you just watched. Then I recorded the intro, and now I'm recording the outro 2 seconds after recording the intro. So I'm really hoping I can piece this together well in I don't know, Adobe Premiere, right? And so I'm hoping I can piece it together well. If I can't piece it together well, it'll be noticeable, but screw it, right? Oh yeah, what did I want to say? Okay, so something that I thought was cool to do, just to get some feedback. First off, any feedback, just leave it in the comments. I know everybody has your opinions, and so just leave that. But I wanted to ask a couple things. I thought this might be kind of an interesting way to kind of close videos and get some feedback that I'm looking for specifically. I'm thinking about 2 new ideas that I really think I want to incorporate into the game, and just any feedback, right? I'll make the decision in the end, and I'll probably build them and just see how they feel. But just a quick, you know, let me know in the comments, hey, that idea is cool. So the 2 ideas is this. One is floating damage numbers. So there are no health bars over the enemies. I tried that. It looks bad. And when there's so many enemies in a wave, it kind of doesn't look good and takes up a lot of the space on screen. But I thought maybe like floating numbers, so you know how much damage, you know, how much damage is this trap doing to this enemy? How does it stack with, you know, these effects that I talked about in the intro, which was actually 5 seconds ago. Anyways, how much do these effects stack? Are they stacking correctly? So anyways, floating damage numbers, yay or nay? Let me know. And then the second thing, this is another really cool thing that I like to see in games, is a status effect icons on the enemies, right? So if the enemy is frozen, maybe there's like a small snowflake like icon like close to like the head of the enemy, right? That way you know like, hey, he just went through that, he's frozen, and then he walks through like some other trap that removes frozen and then burns, and so they have like these different status effects. Just keep in mind, this could be on so many enemies, like it might not even look bad. But would that be something that kind of you would be interested in seeing in the game? Let me know. Anyways, if you got this far, that was 1 month of work, right? So we covered full UI rebuild, and then full ability system for the weapons, which was insane to do. And then I just finished yesterday doing the status effects on the traps. So now old traps kind of have like an effect that are also easily modifiable. It's actually so cool and so interesting, and I would love to share it with you, but it's kind of code stuff, and so if you're not into that, then whatever. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. In another couple weeks, I hope to release an update, and I will release an update. And then more importantly, I want to release a playtest on Steam. So Steam allows you to have a playtest. You can put your game, invite people to playtest the game. And yeah, so that's planned for in the next couple weeks. So stay tuned. Thanks.